Why, hello everybody. I am inside of a bush today and on a beach, and this is gonna be raw and it's gonna be a bit of a yap fest. And if you're down for that, that's cool. If you're not, that's cool. 5 years ago, I was in the forest doing acid, recording it for the internet. And when I look at that now, first of all, let's talk about how many times I said the word fractalization, okay? Just repeated kaleidoscopic fractalization, kaleidoscoping world of geometry and ridiculous fractalization. I've been inside the tent, repeated, like I said, lost in ridiculous fractalization. It kind of looked like overlaid behind my head was just basically fractal images of the trees. When I reflect back on just how much freedom and lack of responsibility and lack of direction I had, it's interesting. It's really interesting. And it's strange to think that I'm happier than before after taking on significantly more responsibility. That's something that you might not expect. I'm just glad that I can laugh at myself. I don't want to ever take myself too seriously. That's why I've kept my older videos up, even though my older videos make me want to collapse into a singularity when I see them. That's the cringe factor we're talking about. But like a certain amount of people have expressed that they like them being up, and so I will keep them up. It's really tricky for me because fatherhood is such a core to my identity now, and my family is so wrapped up in my identity, but I would never fall down the trap of becoming a family channel or a family vlog. So it's like, yes, I am still thinking about consciousness and why there's a supermassive black hole at the center of most galaxies, but I'm also really concerned over why my son has been so gassy in the last week and what changed, you know? I'm much more thinking about that. What changed in the feeding schedule that he's so much more gassy this week? Yeah, that's kind of like much more where I'm at. But I still think about these things and I love talking about them, and I think it's cool that I have a space to do that. Fatherhood is the greatest stage of my life so far. It is better than any trip. It is better than anything. I would give up everything to have this experience. What can I even say? You want to talk about something that's hard to articulate. Try to articulate the love that you feel for your children. Try to articulate that one. Young children are so fascinating. The way that their minds see the world and how quickly they make sense of certain things. It's priceless. I have an entire lore deeper than Warhammer 40k going on with my children. You know, there are certain monsters that would be over there. There's certain drinks that give you certain powers. You know, I've basically leveraged Crystal Light, or, you know, those little flavor packets, into different potions basically in his mind. So some give you aquatic abilities, some give you the ability to run very fast, and he believes it wholeheartedly. And really, kids are just a big playground for the placebo effect, really. Honestly. Do you know how hard it was to not just start this video holding my son like Simba or whoever that little lion was? It was very difficult, but that is very cringe. I'm not going to exploit my child on the internet, but you know, that's my little twin. In the last month or so, he started to laugh, and the joy I feel in my heart seeing my son laugh is, goddamn, that's a trip report. You want to feel something? God, tickle your little baby. Part of the reason I left YouTube is it seems like a bit of a trap. It seems like you end up in this loop of gratification by analytics and worrying about what people think of you way too much. I think it's easy to imagine how the incentives can become misaligned, especially when it comes to psychedelic content. Simply imagine that the growth of your channel or your career, if you do choose to make it a career, is completely based off of these peak experiences you have. And it's very clear to everyone that extreme experiences are going to get the most clicks. And so what would any creator do? Of course you would do more substances, but really it stops being about a genuine exploration, perhaps at some point, and more just a business. There's something really, really strange and kind of perverse about tripping just to get a lot of views. That seems really strange. And so if you're reconciled to not get a lot of views, then you have to think about what else you want to do. And I didn't know what else I wanted to do, and it really wasn't something online. I knew that for sure. I really wasn't even that active in my Discord for several years. When it comes to sharing yourself online, you really have to trust your gut, because my gut was telling me, you gotta go, man. I know you feel like you're a grown-up, but you're not. You're really not. And I know I'm not even a grown-up now, really. When I'm 35, I'm gonna look back at this like, oh, look at old 27-year-old Quentin thinking he's given some advice now. And I think I was right. And honestly, I was shocked to see that people were still interested in even watching me. That blew my mind. Like, that truly blew my mind. What I was doing was a little bit of a experiment with my channel, which was, if I put it through the evolutionary pressure of absolutely no uploads and knowing nothing about what this person's doing, will I get even 30 viewers when I come back? Because I think 30 is a good threshold. That feels good. You know, if you're in a classroom with 30 people and they're listening to what you're saying, that's pretty good. I kind of like that. Let's see. Let's keep myself from yapping here. My toad experience. Yeah, let's talk about my toad experience. I think what I want to do with this is actually subvert expectations. I'm not about to go into a ramble about how much healing I've gotten done over the last 5 years. I more want to address this notion that you could ever escape the fundamental human condition through a substance. You're never going to. I still have all the fears and all the worries of a typical person, despite getting a chance to speak to, not literally speak to, but getting a chance to encounter the presence of that overwhelming ancestral love. Despite that, and despite being reassured by that presence that it's all going to be okay, and there's really nothing to worry about, I still get existential dread. Totally. I still worry about material things and stupid things and fixate on dumb stuff. No psychedelic is going to change human nature. If you are looking for an escape from the day-to-day seeking of something beyond yourself, or just something you need to make you feel better, or something you need to do to make you feel better, or right now you just don't feel good and you want to be different, you want to be someone else, that's not going to happen. You will have powerful experiences that you can reference throughout the rest of your life, but you will not be floating above everyone else, no matter how many mushrooms you take, or how many times you do the toad or do typical DMT. Because in my last trip video on 5-MeO DMT, yes, I had a profound, beautiful experience, but what did not happen is an escape from the mental frame of just being a person. I still had anxiety, I still had stress, fear, worry, and it was no different. I still don't want to die. I still cling to material things. Before I jump back into this whole YouTube thing, I want to make clear that I'm not someone you should necessarily look up to. I'm not a mentor or a spiritual guide. I'm just a guy trying to figure it out, and I'm doing my best. And I love my life currently, and things are going really good for me, and I finally have the time and maybe mental capacity to juggle this at the same time as everything else that I'm doing. But don't get this idea that I've come back from this journey basically as this whole, human being, this healed person. I'm certainly not. I'm certainly just a guy still. One of my biggest barriers to actually posting content is this notion of sneaking up on yourself. How do you become genuine on demand? How do you do that? And I still haven't figured out the answer to that, but I did drag myself out here and demand spontaneity, and it seems to be occurring, but it's very difficult to be genuine right after you press a button. I highly recommend for anybody watching this video to join my Discord. It has become like a little family in there, despite it being 17,000 people. I think we have maybe 4 years of meetups that have happened now. We have people that have made lifelong friends, partners. It's truly crazy. I created this Discord back in 2020, I think, and it's organized into different substances, general chat, video chats, and it just has years of information and stories and dream reports and just everything you can imagine. We have regular, every single day, you're gonna see people in voice chat. It's crazy. You should join. Well, that was my first video back. I hope you enjoyed it, and you can expect to hear from me soon.